What's going on? I'm Scott from Koenig, and today we're going to be answering more of your questions in this little series that we call FAQ. Pretty original, right? Anyhow, today we're going to be talking about wheel weight. Let's get into the first question that you had about it. All right, so here comes a question for somebody that's asking the difference between unsprung weight and sprung weight. It's actually easier than it sounds. Essentially, using that spring on your suspension is kind of what they're talking about, right? So sprung weight would be kind of everything from the suspension line up, and unsprung weight would kind of be everything from the suspension down, right? So essentially, unsprung weight, and that's kind of where wheels fall into, that's going to be the weight that is beneath the suspension line and usually takes the amount of effort and momentum to kind of build inertia. And when you're kind of using that weight, if you have to move that weight every single time, you're going to use more effort from the drivetrain. And that's why lightweight wheels seem to help with fuel economy. They also help with things like turn-in and handling and that feel that you get when you get on the gas, right? You have a heavy wheel, you're gonna feel it when you step on that gas pedal. It's gonna feel a little slower to turn the car, but then you get a lightweight wheel and all of a sudden it feels like the car is more responsive. And that's because we're not trying to have to turn all that unsprung weight. All right, so the second question is kind of feeding off of the first question. The question is, do lightweight wheels really enhance the performance of my vehicle? And this is kind of, well, this is yes. The answer is yes. But the way that lightweight wheels help your performance is the fact that it's, again, less unsprung weight that needs to be turned. And so it's going to take less effort to turn that weight. And when it takes less effort, we get some benefits. We get fuel economy, we get handling, we get a feel of a little bit more throttle response, because really what's happening is it's just taking less effort to move the same weight. So now we reduce the weight, and now all of a sudden you feel like the car wants to move a little bit quicker, right? There are benefits about having a lightweight wheel as far as its handling and its response. Remove unsprung weight, feel the difference. Lightweight wheels, lighter, you get where we're going with this. So question number 3 is now piggybacking off of question number 1 and number 2. And the question is, how kind of effective is a lightweight wheel when it comes to motorsport? Now, I could give you an answer. You probably would even accept the fact that my answer was correct. However, I think there's a more qualified source for this. One of our fastest time attack drivers up in Canada, Chris Boersma.
Hey guys, Chris Boersma here from Boersma Racing. Wanted to talk to you about wheel weights. When you're looking at new wheels for your vehicle, one of the things you should be strongly considering is how much they weigh. Rotational weight is handled differently than static weight. 1 pound of rotational weight is equivalent to about 8.5 pounds of static weight. So if you can shave a pound off of each corner of your vehicle, that's going to be a huge savings in terms of your overall weight. When we were picking the wheels for our Time Attack Civic, it was one of the reasons why we picked our Hypergrams from Koenig. 18 by 11 in the front, 18 by 9.5 in the rear. Having a little bit of savings in each one of those corners has been a huge advantage for us on track, and something you should definitely consider when you're looking at new wheels.
All right, so thanks to Chris Boersma for answering that question. He probably did it a lot better than I ever would, and I'm sure he was more entertaining. So the question may come up, what are the advantages of running a heavier wheel? Now, we'll lump this all together because I feel that you should have the total picture when you're choosing your wheel. Choosing a heavy wheel does have some sort of effect, and I do want to explain this a little bit. Having some more weight to a wheel, if it leads to a higher load rating and allows the wheel to take a little bit more stress, could provide a wheel that is a little bit more capable to deal with very harsh road environments. So if you're dealing with a road surface like in the northeast of the United States, Canada, somewhere where you're going to be in roads that are going to have a lot of potholes or a lot of road hazards, then you may want to consider not going for the lightest weight wheel that you could possibly get. Like if something's built like a tank, it may be able to take a little bit more abuse. And the reason I say a little bit more abuse is, remember, all wheels are metal, not magic. At some point, these wheels, they're going to fatigue. They are a wear item. Wheels are a wear item. I don't know how many times I've said this and how many videos I've said it in, but I'm gonna say it again. Wheels are a wear item, and it doesn't matter how strong the wheel is, it doesn't matter how heavy the wheel is, it doesn't matter what construction, forged, cast, flow form. You need to constantly be inspecting wheels during its life cycle and make sure that if you start to see any fatigue or damage that happens from metal kind of being under the pressures of flexing, that you replace the wheel if you see catastrophic damage, so that you don't have a catastrophic result. All right, so to our final question of the day. which is good because then I get to get back to work. This question's actually really good. I want a lightweight wheel. I also want to have a wheel that is wider. Is it better to go with a lighter weight wheel or a wheel that's wider when it comes down to a performance perspective? Now, that's a great question because there is a trade-off that happens between the two, right? If you have a wider wheel, you're gonna have more material. More material, no matter how you dissect it in a wheel, is going to induce a heavier wheel weight, especially if you're talking about a wheel in the same design. So what we want to keep in mind here is that there's going to be a trade-off, and that usually has to do with how the car is going to be set up to handle, what kind of use you're getting out of it, and what kind of tire you're going to be putting on it. If you're going to the track, if you're going to be running some of these events where you need a wider tire, you need to have more contact patch laid down to the ground, you're putting out a lot of power, and you need to get some traction. These are all situations with going with that wider wheel is kind of going to out-benefit the lightweight wheel, because at the end of the day, if you're having traction problems, if you need more grip, if you need to have more kind of, you know what I mean? Then you're going to benefit more from actually having that stability in the wheel than you are going to be saving the weight on the lightweight wheel. Properly setting up your vehicle for your use really makes a difference. So think about that. This is a great question, and I thank you to everybody that submitted those questions. And if you have a question that you want to submit, you could do so right down below in the video where we can answer this. Again, it's possible. I think we can get there with your help. Just throw down those questions and we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you for hanging out with us, and we will catch you in the next one.